John Deere has recalled over 23,000 riding lawnmowers and is in the middle of firing thousands of employees. Ready to get mad? Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a great week. My name is Bree and I've got my sights set on John Deere today. Let me tell you about it. First off, I do want to tell you about the recall. Where have I been? This recall is over a year and a half old and I didn't even know about it, but I'm not a John Deere dealer, so it's not something that I would have known unless I would have gone looking for it, which I was looking into John Deere and just happened to come across it. Years ago, I made a video about the John Deere D105 riding lawnmower that had a plastic transmission. The worst idea they could have possibly ever come up with, they did. Now, when I made this video, I demonstrated how the plastic transmission housing had metal gears inside and some plastic, I think, had a seal that went over the metal transmission shaft. And over time, just from it bumping around and being plastic, the seal around the shaft would come loose, it would fall right out, grease would go everywhere, and it would need a new seal. Now the problem is, you can pop a new seal in there, and yeah, it's new. It's gonna stay just a little bit, but you can push it in with your fingers. The thing's not gonna stay in there. A lot of people would ask me, how do you put grease that it lost back into the transmission? Well, you have to actually remove the entire transmission, crack the case to add any grease. It just wasn't worth it, and the thing was pretty much crammed full of grease anyways. What you might have lost was not gonna make a difference with this junk. So pretty much I just warned everybody to stay away from these transmissions, but I didn't start making videos until 2020, so a lot of people already had these tractors that were pretty much sold from 2016 to 2017. If you have a John Deere D105 that you bought about 8 years ago, I would definitely go to a John Deere dealer and see what they'll do for you. But that's not all. It gets a lot worse. Now, over the last year, John Deere has fired over 1,500 American employees. And they're fixing to fire a lot more. But they don't have the balls to let you come into work and sit down in front of you and tell you you're fired. They sent out this memo. Despite our efforts to contain costs and optimize production and inventory levels, the strategies we have implemented, including a global hiring freeze, have proven insufficient in addressing the challenges posed by declining customer demand, rising costs, and prevailing economic uncertainties crucial for ensuring the long-term health of our business. Now wait, I'm going to continue on here, but I want to tell you, stick around and wait till you find out how much they've made in the last 8 years in growth. You're going to get mad. You're going to get mad, okay? Knowing this will be a uniquely difficult period, we are providing details of what to expect next in the hope of giving clarity on our process and answering some of the initial questions many of you have. First, no, don't come in and let us fire you. First, we are asking all salaried employees whose job responsibilities do not require them to be on site at one of our facilities to please work from home next Wednesday through Friday and postpone any business travel. This will enable us to synchronize virtual communication and allow the colleagues who are leaving Deere to hear and digest the news in private. Are you kidding me? You're gonna break up through a text? This is crazy. Let me delve in on what real corporate greed looks like. A company that was built in America by Americans for the last over 100 years, has been around for 180 something years. This is how they repay us. Firing everybody and moving their factories to another country. We'll get to that in a second. But in the last 8 years, okay? Back in 2012, 2013, 14, things were good. They were making, an annual revenue of $36 billion. Okay? Now that was not their net. That was just what the revenue was. There were no talks of problems. No. Things slowed down a little bit in 16, 17, and then they started picking up again. Since 2020, now there was a huge boom in 2020. We all know what happened then. My shop was slammed. Everybody decided to stay home and start working in their yard. And they pulled out equipment that had been sitting for 20 years. I was doing repairs on ridiculous amounts of equipment every single day. And people bought a lot of lawn equipment because they decided they had the time to do their own lawns. So all of these manufacturers made a ton of money in 2020, 2021, and 2022. Now you can see here on their annual revenue, they went up very quickly from 35 to 44 to 52 to 2023, $61 billion. With a net income of $10 billion. Do you know how much $10 billion is? Okay, that's the net income. $1 billion, if you stacked $1 bills up from the ground high, it is 160,000 feet into the air. That's how many billions are. I know these numbers, they don't mean anything to us anymore. When I was growing up, trillion was a fake number, okay? It was fake. There was no such thing as a trillion. Now it's just send a trillion here, send a trillion there. Billion. They made $10 billion last year. But guys, they're just not making it. No. Record. They reported record growth just last year, but they're just not making enough. Guess who owns them? The majority stockholders, of course, are BlackRock and Vanguard. I'm not going to say much more about that. I don't want to get, But they're just not making enough. So what do? They're shutting down factories in America and they're opening up in Ramos, Mexico. Now, why would they go to Ramos, Mexico, of all places, the middle of nowhere? Well, let's look at the employee salaries of Ramos, Mexico, compared to America. Oh my gosh, this cricket. What the heck? Now, they do not have the actual salaries for what they're hiring for in Mexico. John Deere doesn't because they don't have the plant built and they're not planning on going there until 2026. So I had to use GM. Okay, GM has a factory in Ramos, Mexico, so we can get, comparables on what they pay their employees. And if you want to be mad at GM, be mad at them too. Here in America, a engineer makes $90,000, $100,000, $134,000, something like that. Depends on how good you are, I guess. In Ramos, Mexico, we have, what is this, Industrial Ingenierio? $351,000. In Mexican money, do you know how much that is? $20,000. That's $20,000 a year. They're saving $80,000 on one employee. So do you think our equipment that we're going to get here is going to be 1/5 the price it used to be? No. This is corporate greed at its peak. Okay, let's look at another one. Mantenimiento. I'm going to say that's maintenance. I don't know. Y'all tell me. But it's $106,000 Mexican. Do you know what that is in USD? $6,000. $6,000 a year. They have production line workers, $5,000 a year. And we aren't buying enough mowers to support them. When they made $10 billion last year, recorded record profits, they made their money, and they're out. And the CEO, of course, made like $26 million last year. So, I used to tell everybody, if you're looking for a moderately priced riding lawnmower and you're shopping at the big box store, a John Deere was not the worst choice. But now, after further review, your new green decks are ugly. The yellow is better. You screwed everybody with the transmissions. Your steering assemblies suck. I'm not even going to start to talk about the hoods. And now you're buying slave labor. Good job, John Deere. So yeah, we're not buying enough, people. We're in a recession and we're just not buying enough for them to make more than $10 billion a year. They just can't do it. I mean, it's just not enough. Please. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. I know this video saved you no time, money, and just made you more frustration. If you find yourself coming back over and over again, think about hitting that subscribe button. It helps out the algorithm to make my videos shown to more people to save them time, money, and frustration in the future. If you haven't found me at Facebook, find me at facebook.com/Chickanic. Find me on Instagram at TheRealChickanic, or find me at Chickanic.com, where you can get your own t-shirts, hoodies, and long sleeve shirts. Thanks, guys, and have a great day.